Leo I wish and natamani tuzungumzie kipengele cha Omnibus Application. Omnibus Application. Nadhani bila shaka utakuwa umeshawahi kuisikia au umeshawahi kukutana nayo au umeshawahi kufundishwa what is Omnibus Application. Now we have to see what is Omnibus Application. What is Omnibus Application? Omnibus Application, it is an application which combines more than one prayer, which are determined distinctly and separately. More than one prayer, it means 2, 3, or 4 prayers in one application, which are determined separately and distinct. For instance, you may have an application, one application. Within that one application, you include a prayer for extension of time within which to lodge a letter requesting for certified of copies and records for purpose of appeal. And you may have the other prayer within that very same application to file a notice of appeal. You pray for extension of time to file notice of appeal. Then within that very same application, you may have the other prayer of application for leave. Application for leave. You are applying for leave. You are applying for extension of time within which to lodge a letter requesting those certified copies of records. And on the very same application, we may have a prayer for extension of time to file notice of appeal. Those are 3 prayers from distinct provision of the law or from different provision of the law, and which are triable separately or they are determined separately. And the separate to mean maybe 1 or 2 prayers are determined by single judge or single magistrate or single justice, and the other one is or are determined by full court. Now, in that sense, that application is omnibus, for it having more than one prayer, which is determined separately. Those prayers are determined separately. Okay. Now, I wish to quote, or before quoting that case, I wish to give you an effect of that omnibus application. Applications like that, it will render that application incompetent and thus defective. So it will not be proper application to be filed in court or to be entertained by the court. In that sense, the court will strike out that application with cost, or sometimes with no cost, or with cost. It will depend with decision of the court. Now, let's see the case of National Housing Corporation and the other, of which I will provide it there. National Housing Corporation and the others versus Jing Lang Li. The court had the following to say, and I wish to quote what the court said. The court said that, with due respect, I do not think the 2 prayers for extension of time to file supplementary records and the prayer for an order to allow the filing of supplementary record of appeal are so distinct and separate that they should be subject to 2 distinct and separate applications, or else be condemned to be omnibus. There is no doubt in my mind that the court has consistently held to be defective and reason of being omnibus, combination of two prayers determined by full court with those determined by single justice of the court. That's end of quotation. I wish to emphasize that consistently the court held to be defective and reason of being omnibus, combination of two prayers determined by full court with those determined by single justice of the court. Now, I think you have a clear interpretation of what is omnibus application. If application combines more than one prayer, which is determined by in which those two prayers are determined by single justice of appeal, that will not be omnibus application. If both two prayers or three prayers, let's say two prayers, are determined by single justice of appeal. For instance, prayer A is that application, within the same application, we have prayer A and prayer B. The prayer A is that you pray for extension of time to file notice of appeal. That's prayer A. And prayer B, you pray for extension of time within which to lodge a letter requesting for certified copies of record. Those two prayers are determined by single justice of appeal. Single justice of appeal. Those two prayers within one application, that application is not omnibus. That application is not omnibus because those two applications are capable of being determined by single justice of appeal, and that the court or the court will have jurisdiction to determine or to entertain those two prayers within the very same application. Now you can see that there is interpretation that when we have two prayers within the very same application which are determined by separate jurisdictional context, to mean one prayer within that application is determined by full court and the other prayer within that very same application is determined by single justice of appeal, that will be omnibus application. And if that two prayers are determined by single judge, that is not omnibus application. But if they are determined separately, one prayer is determined by full court and the other prayer is determined by single justice, then that is omnibus application. And if that one prayer, and if those two prayers are determined by single justice, or both are determined by full court, and you file to be determined by full court, then that will not be omnibus application. I think we are clear on that position, and I will cite some cases there. You will see some cases concerning about omnibus application. You will have time to read, you will have time to cross-check, to know